Hello, okay, that should be working. Okay, so I recorded the entire Zero's Enchanter video, and I realized I didn't record the sound. So I'm gonna try redoing again. So basically, this deck is trying to accomplish one thing. Make your opponent's rolls the worst they can be. Like, you want them to only draw lands, pretty much. Whereas, you reset that out. And basically, what you're gonna do is you're gonna do this by knowing what the top of their deck is through these two card effects. Where Field of Dreams. So basically, Lantern of Insight and Field of Dreams both do one thing. They reveal the top of each player's library. And these decks are this deck is so reliant on these effects. Its commander is basically searching out. So as soon as it's attached, you get Field of Dreams, or if you want to be safe, you get Greater Oromancy to protect Field of Dreams. But what you're trying to do is get them out. So you might be asking, like, how do you actually... I should probably explain what Zur does. When he attacks, you get to search for an enchantment that has free converted mana cost or less. So, like, Field of Dreams, Greater Oromancy, and etc. But basically, you might be thinking, like, how does this matter? Because these are pretty unreliable effects. Like, how are you gonna consistently be able to do it? Through the power of milling. Sorry, an annoying milling. Oh wait, I just realized I didn't save my editing little color spell. I fixed this in my other deck, but I didn't copy it over. So where is this card? I wanted to run this because it's a new card, but it isn't as good as I hoped it was. So basically, through Coda Shredder, which mills a target player by 1. This card mills each player by 1. This card mills target player by X, equal to the number of charge counters, and each turn can put up 1 or mill. So you'll usually just put on 1 or 2 if if your top deck is good and their top deck is bad. This one exiles the top of each player's deck, and the other abilities are relevant. This card mills 1 or more. This is by far the worst one. That's all of the artifact ones. This card and this card both mill 1 by tapping, so they become as good as artifacts after 1 turn. This card mills 2 for 1 blue mana. This is just the next best option besides, like, there's another card that's free mana, and you can do it for free, which probably should be in this place, but it's fine for now. I probably should put this. This one reveals the top of each player's library, and you can either have both players draw it or mill it. So this could help you, or just be our mill eats. And those are all the mill pets. And how we're going to take advantage of this is through you're going to be able to take advantage through this one card. This card is how you win the game. Your goal is to get enough milling where you can consistently have the highest converted mana cost on their library over anyone in their game. This card basically says if you have a higher converted mana cost card on their library on the upkeep, you get to take an extra turn. And every upkeep it does this. So you want to be able to take all the extra turns. And keep on milling people and keep on having high converted mana cost on top of your library. This deck pretty much either wins by milling or by commander damage, even though there's nothing to support it. So this is the main way that you take advantage of it, and this is your main win condition. You also have Planeswalker ultimates, like being chased or drawing 20, I guess. This kind of helps with the milfing. But they're used for something else. And I'll talk about that later when I talk about consistency. This makes all artifacts 5/5s, but that's usually not enough. You also, and this can also be stopped by cards they already had drawn or a really problematic commander. Like, even though this isn't, what is it? Nisa. Never mind. But basically there's some commanders that can kill artifacts, which would ruin this deck. So you have enchantments which do it by countering them for only 1 blue. Nevermore. They just can't be cast. Or the same thing for meddling maze. There's also copy effects to deal with, to basically just make your effects better either by getting another mill effect or copying your win condition again. For time shifter, I'll remove it. So doubling time shifter doesn't really work because it removes the top. So you wouldn't be able to, you'd have to mill again, and that'd be, you don't have enough resources to do that usually. Because as much CMC as this deck is probably low. It has a dot. It's usually around 2 costs for the entire thing. But this deck also provides a copy artifacts, copy enchantments, and copy mill effects. This one copies an artifact or creature. This one copies just a non-land permanent. To also deal with the annoying commanders and such, there's Piping Needle and Friarson Revoker to deal with the annoying abilities that could kill artifacts or just stop you in general. This one just copies an artifact, which just manually copies a mill or usually a card that could just get you a lot of advantage on the board. There's also a couple of counter spells. I just use Swan Song and Force of Will because this deck can doesn't really need that much, because after a while you just have to keep on staying out. The removal is this one, which deals with any non-land permanents, and you just put it on top of the library, then mill it, because you don't really care, and it just gets around on death effects, on graveyard effects. It doesn't deal with a commander anymore, sadly, but it works for now. This does the same thing, except for it has a downside of they basically get to show and tell in a permanent. But since you also have this enchantment, which will let you see their hand, you don't really care because you already know what is in their hand. More, okay. For general consistency, this deck runs a lot of tours. It runs tours through this is the legitimate tours like preordain, not preordain, transmute artifact and reshape. Also, this legitimate tours, fabricate, grim tour, tezzeret, vampire tour, War of Invention, Trinket Maze. Trinket Maze is really good for gain mail artifacts. And that's it. For general consistency, this deck uses Preordain, Ponder, and Predict, which is a really hinge Emperor's deck because this card just basically, you name a card. If it's on top of someone's library, you mill it and draw two, or you just draw one and mill that card. But you always know what the top of the deck is, so it's just 2-mana, mill card, draw 2 cards. This is really good at instant speed. This deck also has a combo to stop any damage and any aggression. Whereas Rest in Peace, exiling everything in the graveyards and anything that would go into the graveyard. And Energy Field, which basically says you take no damage, but if a card goes into your graveyard, you have to kill this. This card is also a 2-er, but it's used to get male artifacts. This card, basically, if they would shuffle, you get to look at the top 2 and exile one of them if you want, and then you get to put them back. This one just counters shuffling, which is the main counter to this deck. So this can just get you screwed with your opponent when they are able to get unscrewed. These 2 cards are the same thing. It just prevents more aggression if your combo gets disrupted. I'm gonna skip the main artifacts because they're pretty self-obvious. Unwinding Attack is the only reason this deck can survive in non-1v1s, because it can actually knock out other people. If this card was not a thing, this would be a 1v1 deck exclusively. Since it's Divine Top, lets you put the stuff that you want on top of your library. Also helps with Time Shifter, and it's just really good in general. Just because it can, since you know what the top card of your library is, you know if you know it's gonna be bad, you can just move it out of the way. And a similar card to Sensei Divine Cap, Crystal Ball, is better and worse in some ways. Like, it hits higher mana, but it can get rid of cards, which Sensei Divine Top can't do. And that's it. The rest are all mana artifacts. I run 10 mana artifacts because I want to be able to consistently be able to put out things. Since this deck can get consistent, this deck can basically get consistent draw through Planeswalkers and other things of such with random things and random things. I wanted to go over the Planeswalkers again. Basically, something cool you can do is Jace. And I probably should put Brainstorm in this deck because I had my other version of this deck instead of Preordain. Because you can just draw free, put 2 Vans on top of your deck, and then mill those or shuffle them away somehow. So that way you just got to draw free and get rid of 2 cards in your hand that were useless. And this is a deck. It just has a couple, this is just our random mill. And it has a pretty normal mana base. Inventor Spirit really helps this deck because it's on our way of getting a Lantern effect. And that's it. This deck is not usually how I like to play my games. I like to play more politically. I like to run like 18 counter spells, 4 board wipes. More consistent ways of drawing besides just not needing to, because you can stall out longer than other people. But this deck is also fun just because people can't concede, well, people can concede to it, but people can't concede to it because at any time because they don't know if they're gonna lose, because there's always a chance they could win. But it's unlikely when you can actually get the hard dock going. Well, it's a soft dock, but it's a hard soft dock, pretty much. And that's gonna be it. Hope you enjoy this. I'm gonna try be posting more of these because I'm gonna try gain what is this guy? Coolio Drango. Um Caden, I refuse to say his name, and Gordon Demezagaran, even though they don't want that because it's a really fun and casual game. And this is gonna be it. Bye.